to sell their chickens because they want to get rid of this exploitation by the merchants. But there's a new military outpost down the river, right at the mouth of the Wasaga River in the Pastaza. So when they were trying to go by, they have to control there at the military outpost. So they were giving a very hard time because they have no personal documents. As a nativo, they say, as Achuara, they don't have personal documents, they are not human beings, and he was giving a hard time. Not only that, he's threatening him to cut his hair. Chobon, that's a very bad insult because, you know, for an Achuara, to cut his hair will be like really castrated, to be very blunt about it. So I understand why they are so upset. Oh, so he said, you know, I'm an Achuara, and that's the way my parents, my grandparents always were, and therefore if he wants to come here and cut my hair, I'm really gonna shoot the guy, or I will cut his hair, and he's bald, he said.
But a boatload of soldiers failed to make good on their threat. Perhaps remembering the legendary ferocity of tribes never defeated by the conquistadores, they pass in silence. Yet the Jivaro children must sing the national anthem of a country which still does not recognize their full rights as citizens or give them the papers of identification provided other citizens. They must pledge allegiance to the flag of a nation which in many ways denies they exist. Still lacking citizenship papers, the Jivaros thus far have been denied title to the very lands they have occupied since earliest history. The reason for the delays, Kukush believes, lies in the oil deposits discovered on Indian hunting grounds and in the fear that tribal claims might jeopardize control and profits for the developers. Now 100,000 barrels a day are pumped through the pipeline over the Andes to storage tanks on the Pacific coast. Again, the chief tells Jean-Michel the Indians gain nothing. Instead, the smell of oil and the frequent flights of company helicopters have driven away much of the game on which the tribe subsisted. As capital of Peru, Lima has witnessed the arrival of many heads of state, but few have come so far as the passenger who steps from the plane after the first flight of his life. Arranged by Jean-Michel, Kukush has come to discuss his problems with the president of Peru, as one chief to another. For Kukush, it is a journey into another world, another dimension. For the first time, he enters the clamor of a great city, rides in an automobile, passes through streets of stone. For the first time, he will see stairways and elevators, fans that turn without wind, hear on loudspeakers the voices of persons who are not there. At the presidential palace, Kukush will find a friendly ear. Himself once an exile from Peru, Fernando Balaunde Terry is not unaware of the problems of the political outcast. But now center of many contending interests, he knows the limitations of political power as he welcomes his barefoot guest.
Recognize the rights of the native population all over the country. I recently went to Rioja and personally talked to the cacique there, and they were quite satisfied, not only because of their rights that were recognized, but because of the presence of public education. And then I've been in Puerto Bermudez with the Campa Indians, where we have handed quite a few hundred titles of property.
Now Kukush speaks. He tells the president his people know they must change. But many of their customs and their land they want to keep. Their land is beautiful. Their ancestors have always lived there. The government has no right to send people to destroy the jungle. That land belongs to the Indians.
There is a certain conflict of people coming in, but they are always bringing other things. Naturally, when they become incorporated into modern life, they have access to education, and also they are in a position to sell their products.
Yes.
Isolation is not a good thing permanently. My experience in trips in the jungle were that life expectation was very short.
There is much talk in this new world, says Kukush, but few answers. The words fly away like the birds, leaving an emptiness. Only the pipeline is real. Through it flows not just oil, but the life of his people. Each religion has its holy places. For the Indians of the upper Amazon, the peaks are shrines. In a high valley near Cusco, more than 10,000 Indians from 200 scattered tribes each spring make a pilgrimage of hope, the great festival of Coyuriti. Though it bears symbols of Christian ritual, it also carries fears that were old before Jesus was born. Fears of the chaos of change, of the day the sun vanquished the moon. Here amid the peaks, families hide messages in rocky piles, letters to the future. Here couples arrange stones to describe the home and animals they hope for. Here they pray to whatever God may answer, for they have learned that even gods may change. But only the ukukus, or bears, may climb to the glacier to cut the sacred ice. Creatures of myth, able to survive extremes of change, they have become priestly protectors. It is they who plant the crucifix in the ice and are ritually whipped for the sins of their villages. Then, cleansed, they carry the ice to the waiting people. In their errand, Jean-Michel finds both reassurance and warning.
Once master of the forest, the Indian today is victim, exiled from his world by forces he can hardly comprehend. Yet we too are entrapped in illusions of mastery, ignore at our peril the hastening disintegration of the vast community of nature on which our lives depend. The future, it is said, is often mirrored in the present. In the anguish of the Indians, we may foresee our own. Yet, this joyous invasion of the streets of Cusco holds an ancient promise of renewal. The sharing of the ice becomes a communion among a great family in which no man is a stranger, reaffirms that each is part of an inseparable whole. For as the Indians know, the ice is more than communion, it is life.